Okay, so I'm Matt, and today I'm going to be running through my wildcard tournament for the Sorcerous Cup, which I did on Saturday. It's now Monday when we're recording this, so I had a bit of time to reflect on it. And I'm joined by a guy who was on one of the discussion videos a few days ago, or a few weeks ago now, maybe, and that's Twiggy. Twiggy's a newish player to the Sylph scene. Started in Forest and has picked up the game very quickly. How are you doing, Twiggy?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And Twiggy, we're going to go through Twiggy's tournament run as well another day, just so we can see the Sorcerous Cup from the perspective of a newer player, which I think will be an interesting insight. I know there's some battles against some real top players from Twiggy's end as well, so it'll be interesting to see just how far Twiggy's come from barely knowing that Sylph existed to taking on elite trainers within 2 months.
Yes, Sylph was raids for me. You pop on, you see that you can do it with 3 or 4, and then you pop off.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that after this. But for now, this was 7 rounds, and everyone I played was an ace ranked trainer. So every game was tough. And the team I went to use was the same team that I've used in my previous video, except for I dropped the Raticate and I added Frostlass just because I was a bit weak to the combination of Hypno and Toxicroak. So adding Frostlass sort of solved that issue a bit for me. But other than that, similar strategies. Have you got any thoughts on any of my picks, Twiggy? Or
So I ran about with Quillfish for a couple of the practice ones. I think your strategy with it is just fantastic, and I couldn't build one. Could not build one with it. And I do think Frostlass, I think you'll see when we do Myron, Frostlass can be absolutely incredible in this cup if you use it correctly. So I don't think you've weakened yourself there by bringing in that at all.
No, neither do I. And so I'd not done any practice with Frostlass before this. I mean, I've used it a lot in previous tournaments. Twilight Cup, that'll have been long before your time, but it was one of my favourite things to use in Twilight Cup, and it plays similarly. Is that right? Yeah, to a Lowland Nook.
That's the one.
Yeah, it plays comparably to a Lowland Nook with Snarl, and if you get a small energy advantage on it, you can get to some devastatingly hard-hitting charge moves really fast, and you can put a lot of shield pressure on. So I quite liked running them both together, actually. If I could get a small charge, small energy lead with one of them and try and burn a shield or two, and then you use the shield advantage with the other to try and pull through. So that's something to look out for. But let's get straight into it then. So my round 1 game was against Quali. I think he was German. Azumarill, Venusaur, Frostlass, Toxicroak, Muck, and Hypno. Any thoughts, Twiggy?
Venusaur's an interesting one. I was when we spoke when I was speaking about Lickitung, Venusaur was mentioned, and I did quite like the look of it, but just felt it was far too weak to a lot of things. But yeah, the rest of the team's quite relevant. You see that sort of fire in quite a few teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's one of those teams without Bronzong or without Steel type. So I really like Noctowl here, and the core of that sort of partnership of Frostlass and Muck as well looks nice as well, especially with the Noctowl lead to handle the Toxicroak that might put a bit of pressure on the Alolan Muck, and it'll also put a bit of pressure on the Azumarill as well. So let's see how it goes. So it's Noctowl, Frostlass, Alolan Muck to begin with.
Yes, nice enough lead. I don't mind seeing Azu with Noctowl.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think I think Azu beats it in the zeros, and I quite like losing the lead narrowly, just because I can have that gives me the opportunity I want to get an energy advantage with a lowland muck. So whilst Noctowl does win in the one shields, I'm going to choose not to shield, just so I can lose narrowly, as I say.
Yeah.
Which seems a bit counterintuitive, but
it's one of those, you've got two things in the back, like you said, with an energy lead on either of them, you're going to come in and the next Pokemon is going to be hit very quickly by some very big moves.
Yeah. So I choose to go to Muck.
Oh, that was close.
Yeah, unfortunate there. But I don't want to shield. I want to keep the shields for Frostlass, because I want to try and work a shield advantage. So yeah, he goes into a lowland Muck, but I've got so much energy I can get a couple of sludge waves off here.
Yeah, before he can even get to. Oh, you go for the Dark Pulse.
Yeah, strange. I wouldn't normally do that. I don't know why I did. I'd normally go for the sludge wave, but good job I didn't. I must have been counting.
Yeah, that's clever.
And now I can try and farm him down with Powder's Nose. It's a long farm down this, but
yeah,
I can shield.
Yeah, you've got the shields. You're going to come in with possibly two avalanches built up at the switch there.
Yeah. So he's got 2 shields left, so I'm reasonably confident he's going to shield. So I go for the bait. Because the confusions are doing a lot of damage, so I've got to be careful that I don't faint before I get 3 Shadow Balls.
Yeah.
And I think that comes in fairly clutch, as we'll see. So I shield the Thunder Punch, and I get to the Shadow Ball.
Very nice.
So he's still got a lowland Muck.
Yeah.
But I'm able to Powder Snow him down. And had I not gone for that bait to begin with, he'd have got another confusion through, and that would have swung the game there. So that bait was crucial.
Yes, that really was there.
Yeah. Second game, I run the same team, but lead Frostlass this time, just to mix it up.
Yeah, so I've done this before when I've led Frostlass, stayed in to the Azu.
Yeah, just to put a bit of pressure onto it.
Yeah.
Don't want to switch to a lowland Muck because I want to save Muck for the Hypno matchup.
Yeah.
But again, I can do with Noctowl as I did with the lead in the first game. I can try and lose it narrowly or win with a big energy advantage. So I'm going to shield because I've got a lot of energy here.
You don't want to go down with that amount of energy.
No, and I'm able to farm it up a bit more, so I'm almost at Sky Attack for the next thing as well.
Very nice, very nice.
So yeah, trying straight for the Sky Attack.
Always think Nightshade's the better one to go in this, but it doesn't do that much more damage, does it?
No, Sky Attack's the more efficient move, and I'm able to get to 2 here as well, which is huge. Because look, he's in range of the lowland Muck.
Oh, you're going to come in with Muck here.
I hope so, anyway.
I was going to say that would have been.
Yeah, happy to take the Thunder Punch, and then we just farm him down.
Oof. Surprisingly, Thunder Punches can chip away at you, but
yeah.
In this situation, you've got that much energy, and then straight into the mirror again.
Yep. Now he's still got 2 shields, so I'm more interested in getting his shields now. So I'm just going to go straight Dark Pulses here, I think.
Yeah.
Normally, as I say, I'd rather get 2 Sludge Waves than 2 Dark Pulses. But if I can get 3 Dark Pulses here, that's great. But
yeah,
I don't think I can squeeze another one in here. No, so I switched straight to Frostlass just to stop him from building up extra energy.
Mm-hmm. Still got 2 shields, although do you reckon probably Powder Snow? It's going to be close.
Yeah, I've got to go for the straight farm down. No point throwing the avalanche there because he just shields. So
yeah.
And then he comes in to finish me off. So that takes it to
close.
1-1. Yeah. And then I go back to the Noctowl lead, but I bring Azumarill in the back rather than Frostlass this time, just for a bit more bulk.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Steve, we've not seen the Venusaur yet, and we've not seen the Frostlass, so
yeah. yeah, the Venusaur not being brought was the key thing for me, and Toxicroak as well, which can do nicely against the Azumarill. He's not brought that yet either, so that's good for me. Now this is a nice lead because Noctowl beats Alolan Muck, and I always think leading Muck is a bit of a waste really, because it does so much better with that slight energy lead.
Yeah, definitely. It's always one of them where I want to lead it because I'm thinking they're going to bring something that I can just tear through, but at the same time, having it in the back is just so useful.
Yeah, I do end up leading it a couple of times this tournament actually. I make a few brave calls. So yeah, I'm able to survive the second Dark Pulse.
That's nice.
Take him down, and I'm not at much health either, so whatever he brings in can't farm me too much.
1 or 2, and Hypno's going to get hardly any energy from that at all.
Yeah, and it's forced him to switch as well.
Throwing the energy is an interesting call.
Yeah, so he goes to
the fun mirror.
Yeah, well, at least I've got play rough, so regardless of what he's got, I can keep up and compete with him. But it looks like he hasn't got it, so fantastic for me.
Yeah, he used Ice Beam, I believe, in one of the earlier matches.
Ah, right, yeah.
Wouldn't say Ice Beam player Arthur's got much play in this cup at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was something I was running to begin with, but I found as he was better late game. And with Hydro Pump there, it's even better late game. Like Hydro Pump's a huge move.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I should do this. No. Ice Beam, yeah.
Good call. It's just about getting the Muck lined up with Hypno again at this point.
Yeah, which not too much of a problem, and I've got so much energy. There's no chance of me losing this one. So come through a potentially tricky game if you'd have brought Venusaur there, or Toxicroak. That could have been a tough one to come back from, but all worked out in the end, so that's good.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the things that I'm starting to try to learn is really concentrating on what they bring in the first 2 games to then work out, are they really going to mix it up that much for the last one? Yeah,
and it can be a dangerous game to play, but when it works, it can give you a real advantage.
Definitely.
So round 2 was against Comantis, Greek player. Pretty sure he's got a YouTube channel as well. His team, quite spicy. I think you'll agree.
That's a team, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Skuntank, Frostlass, Munchlax, and Bronzong, all fairly common. And then Ninetales and Grimer.
Didn't you have trouble against Ninetales in... Was it your weighted?
No, that was back in Fusion.
Okay. That's me getting your videos mixed.
But Ninetales, it's a strange one because it's got the Psyshock as coverage, so whereas Quillfish absolutely walls Wigglytuff, it's got to look out for Ninetales a bit more.
It can hit you with a move you're super weak to.
Yeah, whereas Wigglytuff just tickles Quillfish. Grimer is an interesting pick because it's not as silly as it looks, because it's a Mud Slapper and it also has Mud Bomb.
Oh, yes, yeah. There we go. That's the one.
Yep, and it resists Fairy as well. So if it's got something like Sludge as its second charge move, it can take on the Fairies. But I'm not too concerned about it. So I lead Quillfish because it's got 4 positive matchups there. I'm assuming it's got a positive matchup against Grimer anyway.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, can't say that's one I've simmed. And then so that it leaves the Munchlax and the Bronzong, which Alolan Muck can handle both fairly comfortably. And Noctowl handles Munchlax comfortably, and worst comes to the worst, it can always land the Nightshade on Bronzong. So bit risky. If he leads Bronzong here, I'm going to struggle. But let's see what happens.
I would say it's brave to lead a Bronzong first, but I had one of them today against me, so that was never seen it before.
So I get the nice lead into Skuntank, resisting the poison jabs. It's one of my favourite leads.
Yeah, that is shredding Skuntank.
Yeah, and I quite like leading Quillfish against Skuntank teams in particular because people who have Skuntank like leading it. I'm thinking I can farm him down here, so I go for the shield. Thinking I can have a load of health left on Quillfish for the next thing. But he gets to another crunch. And I've committed now, so, may as well go all in.
Yep. Gonna burn a few shields here thinking about the Sludge Wave.
Yeah, well, you might not know I've got Sludge Wave.
True.
But, Aqua Tails will add up and it'll put a lot of shield pressure on. It's between the water guns and the spam. It's going to add up. So I think I'll get a shield there, yep.
Nice.
Obviously no shields, so can't really do much there. Noctowl, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have assumed so. Plus the Bulldoze at that point would have done some serious damage to Muck.
Ah, of course, yeah. Yeah, Noctowl's the sensible player there, I think, for sure.
Noctowl's so bulky when you need it to be.
Yeah, so I'm able to farm up to two Sky Attacks, so I can throw the next one at the next thing as well. And it's Frostless.
He surprisingly cannot handle a charge move from Noctowl. Didn't realise how frail it was. Well, it's not frail, but it still gets hit hard. You get to 2 as well.
Yeah, that's because I've overcharged so heavily on the Munchlax. And I can tank an Avalanche. And finish him.
And Dark Pulse as well, nice.
So in game 2, I decided to lead Noctowl in case he leads with the Munchlax to try and cover the Quillfish, and he does. So that was a nice read on my part.
Pulled that there, yeah.
And I have Azu and Muck in the back here, so I can cover the Bronzong weakness if he was to have led Bronzong.
See, I don't mind leaving Munchlax with a fair bit of health in the lead because you can just bring Azu in and you can gain so much energy. I know it can spam you quite quickly with the body slams, but you're almost having, I think you can get to a fair amount of energy just bubbling it down before you can even go beyond half.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, able to come out with a fair chunk of health.
Decent amount of energy as well.
Yeah.
See, now at this point, are you going to be looking to switch out of Noctowl to save Frostless gaining a lot of energy, or just going to let it go?
Just going to let it go, because I know I've got Azu, which is about as hard a counter there is to Frostless. So I know I can. I'm a shield up, so I can shield here as well. So not in any real danger. Tank this one. I think Shadow Bolt is about 45%. Yeah, and it's a rank 1 Azu as well, so it's as bulky as Azu can possibly be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and get the shield here, which I do, which is great. So I can go straight to Amok now and beat him to a Sludge Wave and just demolish him.
Yeah. Shields down, fair is all vulnerable.
Yeah. And then I think I get to the Dark Pulse here, yeah. Oh no, but...
Oh. You got the shield, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah. And in game 3, I go back to the Quillfish lead. Azu and Noctowl in the back. Again, very weak to Bronzong here, but he's not brought it yet, so who knows?
Yeah, reading again.
Yeah. And
a lovely lead for you again.
Now I know now, based after game 1, I know I can't farm him down. So I'm not going to commit the shield here, I don't think. Oh, I do. Okay. But no faffing about this time. I go straight for the Aquatail. But he switches into the Grimer.
Oh, we see it. But that did a nice chunk.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Quillfish didn't have much health left there, so I decided to stay in, let him finish me off, or see if I can finish him off. Then I'll keep the switch available if I need it.
Yeah.
In the end, I don't need it, but Quillfish has just wrecked him there.
Absolutely shredded.
Yeah.
And then Noctowl can come in and farm this.
Yeah, don't want to be going into Azu there.
No, they add up quick, those poison jabs.
And then Frostlass in the back, which he seems to be a fan of. So straight into the Azu.
And yeah, this is GG at this point. Interesting play to just completely sack the Grimer there.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps he thought the Mud Slaps were going to do more, or the Water Guns were going to do less. I mean, Frostlass isn't a great switch into it either.
No.
So he didn't really have a play there. It's amazing how often that happens to when I lead Quillfish, people just don't prepare for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a risky strategy, but at the same time, it can be devastating, as we've seen.
Absolutely. So
yeah, fairly comfortable round 2. Into round 3 versus Matt Gunner. I played Matt in Paris. So nice to play someone I'd met before. We had a bit of a catch up while we were waiting for the next round to go. The rounds were taking like 45 minutes each, so it was good to have a bit of a chat in between rounds. His team fairly standard again: Bronzong, Wigglytuff, Munchlax, Toxicroak, Frostlass, and Skuntank. I'm always wary about running Dillo the Nook against teams that have Wigglytuff and Toxicroak. Just the way I tend to use Alolan Nook quite aggressively, and it gets hampered by Wigglytuff and Toxicroak by doing that. So I need to watch out here. And I think in game 1, I don't even use it.
No, yeah, because I'm looking at that team and I'm thinking that yes, shields down, Muck can do really well against your Wigglytuff, but apart from that, it's going to be walled by Toxie, and Skuntank's running Flamethrower, which I'm seeing a fair amount of people starting to run now. The way you use Muck is quite dangerous in this game. Yeah.
So in game 1, I choose not to use it. I stick with the Quillfish lead, and I back it up with Frostlass and Noctowl. Again, a bit weak to Bronzong, but as we've said, Bronzong leads can be quite risky. Now, Frostlass and Noctowl in the back here is a mistake. There isn't neither of those want to take on Bronzong. As I've said before, Noctowl can take Bronzong on in a pinch if it really has to, but it's a last resort really. And Frostlass, if you're getting a bit of energy, can hit it hard, but you don't want to be taking the confusions or the side shocks. So perhaps a poor choice of 3 on my part here. So let's see what he picks. So I catch the Wigglytuff lead, which is an amazing start.
Yeah. Again, I suppose not many people would know to switch out of this matchup. Or know it's as hard a losing match as it is. Yeah.
So here's my first mistake. I go straight for the second Aquatail. I should be farming that down.
Yeah.
Should be farming that down. And that's big, because he brings Bronzong in now. And I just miss out on the Aquatail.
Yeah. And now Bronzon's got a wee bit of energy.
Yeah. And what do I have to take it on? Yeah, exactly. So got to shield, but I don't.
Oh, that's a nice chunk out of that.
Yeah. So I overcharge going for the bait, and he ends up switching on it. But I catch the Skuntank with the avalanche, which is lovely.
Isn't the worst thing in the world.
No, exactly. And I'm able to switch out with a Shadow Ball.
Yes, that I reckon that's going to come in big, isn't it?
Well, I hope so. I'm able to farm it down, so I'll throw the Sky Attack at the Bronzong. He's got 2 shields, so he's going to use them. So I get the shield. I've got to get that last shield.
Yeah. And Frostlass is so low, there's no point saving your shield at all for that.
So mistake number 2. Go for the Nightshade. I need the shield more than the damage.
Yeah, you're not going to get to another Sky Attack now to pull out the shield.
Yeah, so I would if I'd got 2 Sky Attacks there. Well, I'd just miss it. So I was
miss it. Yeah.
So yeah, if I'd have gone straight Sky Attacks there, I'd have got the shield and been able to knock him out with Frostlass. So just two mistakes, and had I got away with either one, I'd have been okay. But
that's what I'm finding a lot in this cup. Any sort of mistake and is costly, and then that's
horrible lead
there.
Yeah. So I save swap to Frostlass. He's not going to want to stay in and take a Shadow Ball.
Definitely not. Double avalanche here is nice.
Yeah. And I've saved the muck in the back for the Bronzong.
You've got both shields as well.
Yeah. So I go back into Noctowl here. Would rather line it up against the Wigglytuff than against the Bronzong.
Yes.
Shield the Ice Beam just because
you don't want to be leaving everything to muck there.
Yeah, especially when he's got Charm to junk away. Got to use the shields at some point. Managed to save a bit of energy as well. Immediately switched to Skuntank, knowing he's going to come into to Muck, knowing he's going to go to Bronzong.
Could have been dangerous in the back there if it's bought Toxicroak.
Yeah. And here's another mistake. I shield this Fear in the Flamethrower. And it is Flamethrower. It would have done a big chunk, but I needed that shield for Bronzong. And another mistake here, I don't go to two Dark Pulses. I stop just short, and then just again really fine margins. Just a slight lapse in concentration. And I'm down.
That's unfortunate because this Nightshade, if you'd got to another Dark Pulse, I presume would have KO'd
for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't know how much Nightshade did against Bronzong.
Yeah, so I stopped the recording there because I'm frustrated. I'm 2-0 down, and really I possibly should have won both games. I'm feeling like that's my shot at Worlds gone now. There's too many good players in this for no one to sweep. But I can try and win the third still. It's still a tournament, so still going to try and do as well as I can.
Still want to get that one win for your record.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Azu Noctowl A-Muck this time. Because I've got the really high rank Azu, I can get to 2 play-roughs, which is nice without shielding.
Yeah, that's really good. And Wiggly's left in a decent range there.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident I can farm it.
Very nice, very nice.
And then we have the Frostlass that doesn't want to take Sky Attacks. Rather than switching to Muck there, I stay
get
in.
to 2 before it can even get to an avalanche.
Yeah, but he switched to Bronzong.
That's a nice switch.
Yeah, but now he's got himself trapped versus Muck, so it feels like I'm in a strong position here.
Yeah.
So I miss a few bubbles there just so I can get a couple more Snarls down at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's fairly straightforward here. I've got even shields now, but with an energy advantage, and I can probably tank an avalanche, or maybe not actually now.
I think you can tank one from about 75. I wouldn't want to tank one any less than that because the powder snows are just gonna take you out quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Muck's too fast. So managed to pull one back. So I was a bit annoyed after that. Perhaps games on another day I might have won, but Matt played it really well. He didn't make it a mistake at all there. Really, just played solidly enough to not let me back in.
Yeah,
which is what the top players do. So can't really have any complaints.
No, and as this cup is one, like I said, one mistake, and you feel like you're clawing back the rest of the way.
Yeah, but that's what annoyed me most, because I think in the first two games I made two mistakes in each. Admittedly, both were minor mistakes, but I could have got away with making just one mistake in either of them and still taking the game. And in fact, winning just one of those games would have been enough to win, given that I won the third. So made four minor mistakes, and I could have got away with three minor mistakes there and still won the round. So bit unfortunate they all came at once, really. But what can you do?
Yeah, you learn from them. That's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. So round 4, Torpedo Runner. Great name.
It's a good name.
I think he was Croatian. Bit different to the teams we've seen so far. Frostlass, Skuntank, Bronzong and Azu were sort of mainstays. But then Medicham and Linoon in the back as well. Any thoughts on them?
So Medicham I had completely ignored for this cup. And then I faced two, as we're going to see in the next video. And one was running Power Up Punch and Psychic. And wow, it destroyed Azu. It was one Power Up Punch, shield down, and then two Psychics it could get to, and it just rinsed. And then the rest of my team, it could just power through, because a couple of Power Up Punches and it goes to town.
Yeah.
So very, very dangerous in the correct situations. And Linoon was one I was tempted by, but again, it was far too expensive.
Right.
To power up a Licky Tongue and a Linoon. But it's got an interesting moveset. Is it Shadow Claw, Thunder, and
Grass
the other one?
Grass Knot or Dig, depending on what you want to run. Yeah. But now my take on Medicham is that this is the sort of team I like facing, because Muck can deal with Medicham with a couple of Snell's advantage. You'll win the one shields. You can certainly take a shield advantage out of it and sack the Muck and then farm with something else. And this team doesn't have a Charmer, so this is the sort of team I'm looking forward to facing with Muck. And it's another one with a Quillfish lead as well that'll take on Frostlass, Skuntank, Medicham, Azumarill, and it'll chunk away at Linoon as well. So game 1 I lead Quillfish and have Muck in the back with Bronzong in the middle.
First time you bought Bronzong.
I catch the Skuntank lead again, which is always a nice one.
Skuntank leads. But yeah, like I said, I must not have noticed it as much that people with Skuntank they like to lead. It's given away me that I don't really lead this Skuntank at all.
It might be completely anecdotal. I choose not to shield that crunch. And I go for the Sludge Wave, and I get it.
Oh, that's big.
Again, nice IVs on the Quillfish. But he blocks it. But I choose to switch out and save the Quillfish in case I need to do a sack swap later on in the match.
Yeah.
Go to Bronzong, because I'd rather not let Bronzong get lined up against Skuntank if I can avoid it. Not a terrible matchup, but
it's not as cut and dry as I thought it was when I was first looking into this tournament, because I think I threw a Hydro Pump at a Bronzong and it does a decent chunk, but nowhere near as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, and this one doesn't seem to have it either, so I can confusion it down chuck a bulldoze at the Skuntank.
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realise it was at. I'd forgotten it was at such low health, so it doesn't really matter what I chucked there. And he has Frostless in the back, so Muck with a shield will take it on comfortably.
It's very nice to line up the things there as you did. As much as I'd argue that this isn't as much of a rock paper scissors cup as Forest. I mean, they're the only two I've got knowledge in. That it can be very nice when you line things up as nicely as this.
Yeah, it always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's again one of the. I'll defend Quillfish to the hill or to the hilts. I don't know, because it wins so many matchups as a lead that it's it can really set you off on the right foot. Game 2, I lead Azu with Bronzong and other than Muck. Lead Azu just in case he goes Bronzong. But Medicham, again, ideal matchup really. And I go straight into Muck there without even seeing what he pulls in, because whatever he pulls in, I'd rather get Muck lined up against that than against the Medicham. Now, here's a strange one, because I'm silly. I'm playing too aggressive. I'm thinking, well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if I'm going to win this tournament, it's going to be on buckles and tiebreakers, so I want to get 3-0s. So I play super aggressive, and I just go straight Dark Pulses, which is just stupid, really. Lost, not quite got my head back from losing round 3, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I even go down with the Dark Pulse, so I could have got the chip damage there, but I didn't.
Which means now this Azu can chip you away quite nicely.
Yeah.
Rather than with a Dark Pulse, you probably would have been able to farm down.
Yeah. I'm still able to gain a bit of energy. And I'm able to double player off, so I'm able to sort of waste the shield on his end there. So I'm back in the game here. 2 shields up going into his next thing.
Nice, that swap there.
So I shield in case it's Dynamic Punch or Psychic or something like that, but it's Power Up Punch.
Always annoying shielding one of them.
Horrible, isn't it? Horrible.
Yeah.
And then he survives just on pubes, and he's able to get another charge attack off. And I don't want to shield another Power Up Punch, so I don't. But now I'm struggling on health, so perhaps I should have done. He's in with Frostless, and I'm hoping I can get to 2 Sky Attacks.
Oh, it's gonna be close. That's very nice, very nice.
But I don't think I've got enough health between Noctowl and Azu to faint down his Azu. So
I did not realise his Azu had that much left.
Yeah, so again, either landing that extra Dark Pulse on the Azu would have done it, or
shielding the second Power Up Punch would have done it.
Yeah. So I'm stressed going into round 3. I could be losing 2 on the bounce here, but go back to the Quillfish lead. A lowland Muck swap in with Azu in the back. Azu's really nice against his team, as long as I can avoid the Skuntank. And I'm pretty confident that if he's going to use Skuntank, he's going to lead it, based on how he played game 1.
Yeah.
But I get the Frostless lead, which is a good lead still. Now I stay in and go for the Sludge Wave. No messing about after last game with the Dark Pulses on Azu. No messing about here.
Straight in.
Force the shield, yeah.
You've got something nice in the back to sort out Frostless, so there's no need to like you said, muck about any more than you have to.
Yeah, precisely. So I'm going to shield this one, and now I know I'm going to get to an Aqua Tail and a Sludge Wave before he gets to the next thing. So there's no downside to me going for Aqua Tail here, because if I get the shield, it's great. But if not, I get to the Sludge Wave.
Still get to a Sludge Wave, yeah.
Yeah, so a no drawback play there for me. As it happened, it didn't quite pay off, but I still faint down the Azu, so the result's the same. And I'm on less health, so I can be farmed less by the Linoon as well, so that's good. Into Muck. I want to keep the Azu for Frostlass, and I don't want to be taking any Thunders with Azu. Perhaps a mistake. Perhaps I should have gone for the Sludge Wave there. Just the extra damage would have been nice.
Then again, you weren't to know if the shield was going to come out. You probably wouldn't have got to. You're not going to get to another Dark Pulse.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
I think I let this one through, thinking he might bait, but he doesn't.
Still going to be quite close, this matchup.
Yeah. Again, I'm thinking he might bait, but he doesn't.
I was going to say you had to bait there, surely. But you just get a play rough.
Yeah, again, knowing that I've got the rank 1, I know I can tank that.
No, you're going to tank it.
And then I can come in with Muck.
Yeah, you've got a Dark Pulse in the back ready to go.
Yeah, and even if he'd have gone for the charge move there, I had the shield to block it. So, yeah, just about pulled that one out. Did my best to try and lose it in the second round, but yeah, just about pulled that one out. So that was nice.
Does that ease a lot of the pressure in a tournament like this? Because I know tournaments can be nice and pressured, but I suppose a wildcard event like this that's got that much pressure on to get to a massive tournament like you're trying to aim for. Yeah,
I think the big thing is how you bounce back after losing the first loss. If you lose the first one and get sort of angry as I did and annoyed, if you let that get to you, you're not helping yourself. And as I say, I really really tried to lose that by the looks of things, but managed to pull through just about, and that stood me in good stead for the rest of the tournament because I was sort of composed again now. So 3-1 going into the last 3 rounds, and then I go on a bit of a rampage. I don't drop around for the rest of the tournament.
I'm in for a treat here.
So round 5 against Mootlis, I believe, Austrian. Same team as last opponent actually, but with Toxicroak over Medicham.
Yeah.
So similar stuff really. Probably running a lot of Azu, a lot of Alolan Muck, a lot of Quillfish. And in game 1, I believe I go with Noctowl, Azu, and Amok. Yeah, decent lead.
If I'm honest, I don't know how this matchup goes because I assume a couple of Thunders take you out.
Yeah, they will do, but I don't think he's going to get to a couple of Thunders.
No.
Certainly now he's not shielded the first one. So
definitely.
I don't want to shield here. Don't like giving up shield advantage.
Now I'm finding, especially in this meta, it's much better to have shield advantage than switch advantage.
Yeah, I think I agree on the whole. It felt a bit early for another Thunder there, so I didn't shield, and it paid off.
That's nice.
Able to take the switch without him being able to farm me.
Yeah, 1 powder snow and you're gone.
Yeah, and that 1 powder snow is not helping him against the Zoomerl, that's for sure.
No.
Again, no need to shield the first one. No, I have got Alolan Muck in the back, so I do need to watch out for Toxicroak in the back on his end, but I'm fairly confident he isn't going to bring it. As much as Toxicroak is dangerous, I've got Bronzong, Noctowl, and Frostlass, which destroy it. Quillfish and Azumarill, which really Toxicroak doesn't want to be taking on, so always quite confident bringing the Alolan Muck in the back in sort of game 1. I tend to find that people who use the fighters against my team anyway, they might be more likely to bring it sort of late on once they sort of see that I'm a big fan of Alolan Muck.
Oh, I made that mistake. I never like this matchup at all.
Yeah, it's one of I quite like it from the Alolan Muck side. Sort of 2 gunk shots and 2 sludge waves, sorry, and the appropriate snarls that go with it tend to be enough. I thought Dark Pulse might finish in there. Yeah, it does. So round 1 quite comfortable. Same team this time, but I mix it up and lead a Zoomeril. So Noctowl and Muck in the back.
How do you find Azu in the lead? Because I do feel that this I do like to take shields quickly, or try to take shields quite quickly. I think Azu in the lead, I don't think you get off enough to really.
Yeah, I agree. It's just one of those. I liked the 3 that I used in the last game, so I wanted to keep it the same. But sometimes mixing it up a little bit. I often expect my opponent to adjust after a loss. And he baits the avalanche and fails there, so I'm able to take a huge advantage. Nice. But yeah, I often expect my opponents to adjust after a loss, especially the ones that sort of towards the upper end of the skill spectrum, which these opponents all are. But so if I don't necessarily want to change my 3, I can change the order of them.
Yeah.
Not
a couple of nice things in this game for you there, getting calling the bait right, and this, like you said, after the last match, this is quite a nice matchup for you.
Yeah, and I'm able to beat him to the next charge move as well, which is great because I can take the shield. He's not going to want to go down with all that energy.
Definitely not.
But I shield, and it's a grass knot, so a good play on his part there. And I managed to sack the Azu, which is lovely.
Is that you counting, or is that you just having a gut feeling?
Gut feeling, yeah, gut feeling. I don't know the counts for Linoon.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you did, that's some incredible memory there.
No chance. No chance at all. So I go for the Sludge Wave here just because it'll do a huge chunk, and that might put him within farming range, although I think I've got a Sky Attack saved, but if I can farm it, I will, because then I can take 2 Sky Attacks into the last match. Although apparently I don't. Straight for the Sky Attack, no messing around.
Because I think Frostdust only has a little bit of health left, so it would have been a bit silly to risk anything there.
Yeah. Now, I play unusually here. I just had a good feeling about leading Alolan Muck.
It was going to have the front on in the front, sorry.
Yeah, I just had a good feeling. I was feeling he'd lead that or Frostlass or Linoon. So I thought I'd take a risk. And I actually bring Quillfish in the back here as well, which is something I very rarely do.
Strange for you.
Yeah. So I'm able to... I'll block the Bulldoze because I can build up a load of energy here. We're going to see just how much Toxicroak doesn't want to take a Dark Pulse. That's a lot for a not very effective move. Yeah. And I can have 2 of them.
For a Pokemon that in essence is quite squishy against other stuff anyway, you don't want to be bringing Toxie into a match, half health. Yeah.
Good counting on his part there, throwing the charge move just before I get to the next Dark Pulse.
Yeah.
Going to Quillfish. I went into the Noctowl versus the Toxicroak because I know once the Toxicroak's gone and the Bronzong's gone, Quillfish is solid versus everything else. So save Quillfish for the end. I know I can tank a Shadow Ball from previous experience, and I don't particularly want to, of course, but
that's a fair chunk.
Okay, I can shield this and hopefully get to a Sky Attack.
Yeah.
And then it's a simple farm down of the Toxicroak. So And again, I was going for 3 O's here, just on the off chance that it went down to a tiebreaker. As it happens, there's tiebreaker rounds, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I didn't know that. So yeah, the aggressive play worked out there. Not something I'd usually do.
No, but it worked really well for you.
And you can do that when you're 2-0 up, and there's less pressure. You can go for those aggressive plays. Have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's a game after all.
Yeah, I think I'm never really going for the 3 and O's, and I'm not quite that good to focus too much on the tiebreaker stuff. But I do like in the third, if I'm 2-0, to just try something different, use it as a practice to potentially know what I can do in future matches.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Like in a standard tournament, I'm not bothered about 3 O's or whatever, or tiebreaker even. It was just, as I say, I thought that if there was a 6-1 tie, I thought it would go down to Buckles and tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, just played a little differently to how I would usually. Yeah, not normally too bothered. Don't get me wrong, it's nice, but it's
again, pressures of a tournament like this as well, I think.
Yeah, sure. Round 6, Jesp, and the numbers. Frostlass, Tentacruel, Toxicroak, Alolan Muck, Hypno, and Munchlax. We've not seen a Tentacruel yet. Any thoughts on Tentacruel?
Very, very bait dependent.
Yeah.
Not particularly been impressed by one when it's faced me, so I've never really thought about bringing it. I've got quite a decent rank 1, I think around rank 100, that wouldn't be too much Stardust to invest. And although on all the sims it comes up that Tentacle is my biggest weakness, I think when you look at PvP poke on the face of it, you look at that and think, oh, Tentacle, you've got to be one to do. But just that little bit of digging, you switch, go straight Hydro Pump rather than throwing an Acid Spray, and you're starting to lose a fair few of those matchups. I think it's one of the first mistakes I started to make was look at it on face value and not dig into what's actually going on in the sims.
Sure.
I think Tentacle's a prime example of something that just a little bit of digging you can discover. It can be brilliant, but you've got to win a lot of pace. Yeah,
and I think it's an interesting one because obviously I use Quillfish, which has the same typing and similar sort of matchups in that it's there to beat the fairies and take on the dark poisons. But in the same way that Quillfish is better in the lead slot, Tentacruel's much better in the closing slot, with shields down, because then you can just go for the big Hydro Pump and not worry.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that was the thing that made me want to run Quillfish over Tentacruel, because using it in that lead matchup where I've got a good chance of winning the lead versus a lot of teams, just on pure numbers alone, I thought I preferred Quillfish there. And also having Azu on the team as well, having 2 Hydro Pump users can be quite limiting. Both sort of good in the back, so it's sort of, whereas Azu and Tentacruel kind of compete for the same slot in your line of 3, I feel like Azu and Quillfish less so. So that's my thoughts on Tentacruel. And yeah, as you say, very bait dependent, so not my cup of tea really, but it's certainly something I've tried in the past. Season 1 regionals, I tried Tentacruel for a long time. I don't think I took it in the end, but something I gave a lot of thought to. And in the right hands, with someone with a lot, for someone with a lot of bottle who's not afraid to go for the baits and make the big calls, it's devastating. But for me, the risk reward sort of factor of going for that bait is too big. With something like Quagsire, for example, where if you fail an acid spray bait with Quagsire, not really a big deal because you can get back to an Earthquake in about 4 turns anyway with Mudshot. But with Poison Jab, it's a little bit slower, and Hydro Pump's a bit bigger. So yeah, it's not.
I think when your bait and your big hit are the same, and am I right in thinking they're the same energy or very close energy?
Which moves?
Acid on Tentacle, Acid Spray and Hydro Pump, are they around the same energy?
So Acid Spray is 50 and Hydro Pump 75. So there's a big difference. And yeah, that can be 4 poison jabs.
Yeah.
That's, you know, four poison jabs is what, 8 turns. That's nearly 3 snarls. So you're almost, you know, you give it.
Hit again.
Yeah. So it's not for me. But fair play to anyone who runs it. I think it's definitely a valid pick. But yeah, not for me. I really like the look of Frostlass and Noctowl against this team. Doesn't really have anything that wants to take either of them on. Certainly nothing that wants to take a charge move from either of them. And then, so I'm thinking I'm going to play quite aggressively here, and with that in mind, I bring Muck in the back slot.
Back again, yeah.
So I'm not sure how this plays out.
One of the trickier Frostlass leads, because the Lick's obviously doing super effective and chunking away at you quite a lot. And Body Slam's obviously going to do a fair amount of chip damage to a Frostlass.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I can probably tank a Bulldoze if he goes for it, so I don't want to shield the first one. And then by the time he gets to the second one, I just think if he wants to go for it, go for it. And I choose to switch out because I don't want to waste the energy on that little amount of health, knowing how hard that Frostlass can hit.
Yeah, definitely.
So I switched to Noctowl in the hope that he's going to let me farm him. He doesn't. He switches to him now. But again, that's quite good because I can let Noctowl lose to this, and then bring Muck in.
Yeah, get a decent amount of energy from that.
Yeah. So.
And Munchlax isn't going to be a Bulldoze either, so you're pretty safe there.
Yeah. So as I say, let Noctowl go down, in with the Muck, and I'm now in a position where I've got Muck with a load of energy, or a bit of energy, and Frostlass with a load of energy. So he's in a tough little spot here. Shield that just in case it's Bulldoze.
Yeah.
Can get a few more snarls in before going for the Dark Pulse. So don't want to take another one.
No.
And then comes the Tentacle.
Yeah, there's a Tentacle.
Yeah, shields the Dark Pulse. They're going to do a chunk. And it's a fairly bulky Tentacruel, but it's not. It's no Azu.
You don't want to be taking them. Yeah, it's a decent amount.
And I'm happy to shield this because I'm going to get to another Dark Pulse and a Shadow Ball on the Frostlass, regardless of what he does. So as long as I didn't let Hydro Pump through there, was fine. So that was the safe play.
Yeah.
So yeah, round one, fairly comfortable. Noctowl lead this time with Azu and Muck in the back. Nasty lead. So I do my safe switch to Muck. Save that Azu match up with Frostlass for later.
One or two snarls in against the Munchlax is very good.
Yeah, and I know Munchlax can win this matchup. I'm not very, to be honest, I don't know the Sims very well for this cup, because a lot of the time I find that they're so warped by Lil and Muck having a couple of snarls or Frostlass having a couple of powder snows.
It's difficult to learn matchups alone, let alone with a couple of snarls here, a couple of powder snows there.
Yeah. So I'm happy to let Muck go down because I know I can come in and gain a bit of energy with Noctowl. And he gives me switch advantage back.
Yeah.
I think he shields this. Yeah. And I can go into Azu, so he's sort of wasted that last shield. Because Azu's going to wreck him anyway. I've got to be careful that I don't play too recklessly with my shield, so I shield that one just to make sure I don't save myself 40% health. And I'm thinking Player Up will be enough here. But it isn't. I think That's it. I don't shield that. That's just a glitch.
Yeah.
Frostlass has a reputation for being glassy, but it'll take a neutral hit fairly comfortably. It's not as glassy as people make it out to be.
Yeah, I would have expected a player off to take it out there.
Yeah. Fantastic sack swap from my opponent there, but
I didn't even see it myself. So well done for not bubbling.
Yeah, no bubbles, just so I can get a few more wing attacks off. And then Hypno comes in.
Oh, how Nightshade is just a terrible move.
Yeah, well, it's like when I was talking to Callum about Golbat. Imagine if it got Shadow Ball; it'd just be insane.
Yes.
So I don't shield the Noctowl just in case he's got back to back. Let one through, and then I can block the next with Azu. And for some reason, I go for Hydro Pump rather than Play Rough. A bit risky.
Yeah.
I think Play Rough probably would have killed, but yeah, it pays off. It's fine. So I'm expecting him to use Toxie this time. So I lead Amok, knowing I can protect it. I didn't expect the lead, obviously. But
yeah. As soon as you were saying that, I was thinking, yeah, we're going to see a Toxie lead here.
But I'm able to save switch to Frostlass, and his response is the mirror, but I've got an energy advantage, so it's not going to end well.
Yeah. Lets it go. I expect, imagining knowing it's not worth wasting the shields in that matchup.
Yeah. So I go for the Shadow Ball on the Hypno. Like, he's got nothing to take Frostlass here.
Yeah, that's telling. That.
I'm thinking Frostlass has done its job. I'll let this through, but it's Thunder Punch, and again it can tank it, and because I've got a good IV one, I can get another Shadow Ball. 3 Shadow Balls, just devastating, absolutely devastating.
Yeah, that's.
And then Toxie, and I've got Noctowl in the back, so.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
You're just hoping there, aren't you, as a Toxie? Just think, show me an Azu. At least I might be able to get a couple of sludge bombs off. Best you still have 2 shields at that point as well.
Yeah.
And the straight farm down.
So yeah, Frostlass absolutely destructive there. Like that's Frostlass at its best, really.
I think it's me learning. Well, I didn't know what PvP was before Go Battle League. And I'm thinking Go Battle League, when you lose switch advantage and you switch something in, you're normally toast. It's very difficult to get back. So I think it's very strange in these sorts of tournaments to see how you swap something in, and that has actually won you the game because of how weak across the board every one of his Pokemon is. So I think that's one of the things I'm really trying to sort of get out of the habit of, that switching can still win you games in still formats, whereas Go Battle League, you're trying everything to not switch.
Yeah, but it varies from month to month in Sylph. Like Rose Cup was one where I made sure that I led things that were weak to Medicham, because then if I lost the lead, I could switch a Lowland Sandslash in, and if I lost the lead to a Medicham, I'd rather have in Rose Cup, I'd rather have lost the lead to Medicham than win the lead, because then I can come in with Marowak and get 2 or 3 fire spins off, and then just now something like, and there's an element of that here, but to a lesser extent, with if it means you can lose the lead slightly with something like Noctowl to Hypno and then farm it with Muck. But something like Voyager was very different. I felt switch advantage was crucial in Voyager. But yeah, I think that's part of the skill in Sylph, is being able to recognise which advantage is the most important in any given game. And being able to recognise that it's not always the same in any match in the same cup. I just put out this morning my second part of my Sinister Cup run. And in Sinister, I was all about shield advantage because I didn't have much to take a Shadow Ball. And I came up against Richie Beckett, fantastic player. And I was so concerned about keeping the shield advantage that I let him take switch advantage, and just huge huge error. So yeah, you've got switch advantage, shield advantage, energy advantage. They all have their ups and downs, and they're all very different ways to play the game. So yeah, so let's go into round 7 then, last round. Now, do you want to have a go? So, right, so this guy's Danish.
The new Skeptiski?
Well, good effort, man. Good effort. Mr. Pancake Turtle in the Leeds chat is Danish. So I had a word with him, asking whether he'd send me a soundbite pronouncing this word, this name, and he refused because he wanted to hear me struggle. I'm not going to give him that satisfaction.
Oh no, please! And then just tag him and then just put the time on the video.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give him that satisfaction. But I am told that it translates loosely to something like "cute baby." So we'll call him "cute baby." Again, nothing we've not. Yeah, nothing we've not seen before apart from the clay doll. Fairly confident that's going to be Mudslap because he's got the bronze on there for confusion anyway. Any thoughts on what you might be doing here?
Now, I played a Delion with clay doll, I think, in the first round of either Belters or Northwest All Stars, and I managed to line up clay doll fantastically well against Azu. But I think I could 100% see where it can be very, very dangerous against your Mucks. Now, I don't specifically know the matchup against Bronzong, but I assume it's quite good against Bronzong.
I would have thought it beats Bronzong, yeah. See, my thinking here is that, yeah, he might be able to trap Muck with Clay Doll, but if I've got those 2 Snarls energy advantage, I'm probably going to get 2 Dark Pulses off. And I'm probably going to take a shield advantage, so that's fine. Also thinking that he doesn't want to be trapped in against Noctowl with Clay Doll or the Venusaur. Or for that matter, Noctowl's nice against Wigglytuff, Muck and Tentacruel as well. So I can see Noctowl being key here. So I think I'll lead Noctowl and then run it with Azu and Muck to try and protect it from the Bronzong.
See, I'd be very worried about bringing Azu just because it looks like that team's up as a sort of counter Azu with the Tentacruel and the Venusaur there.
Yeah, I guess so. But the other 2 are things that I've brought with it.
I will cover you against both of them quite nicely. Yeah.
Yeah. So lead into the Wigglytuff, and I get the shield early on. Able to keep going for the Sky attacks here. Does he charm me down? Yeah.
Just. The annoying thing with Wiggly is this play rough can do a nice chunk from you. Yeah.
I go into Azu there because, as you say, there's always the risk of Tentacruel and Venusaur in the back. So, knowing that I've got to take a charge move, I'd rather take it with Azu, just in case he comes in with a hard counter afterwards. But so then I switched to Muck in response to his Bronzong, and then we find ourselves in the situation with the Clay Doll where I'm able to get a couple of Snarls and then batter him with Dark Pulses.
Oh, that is a chunk.
Yeah.
You're able to. Oh.
Again, IVs. Yeah.
Close.
Now I forget that he has Bronzong in the back.
Bronzong, yeah. Oh no.
But I've got 2 shields and I'm sort of close to a Hydro Pump, so should be okay.
I was so intent on Muck's health there, I completely forgot you had not used the shield and was getting very worried then. It's gone. I was treating that like a no shield game there, like that was going to come down to the wire.
Yeah. So round 2, it worked so well. I just use the same team. Why change? Just got to be aware that I might end up in that situation again where I lose without shields, so I want to make sure that I'm using my shields. So I don't want to be in a situation where they go to waste later on in the game.
Mm.
And I catch the Venusaur, so this is amazing.
That's very nice.
So he switches straight out, and I switch straight to Azu in response because don't want Azu to be caught up against Venusaur later. And then I noticed something weird here, and he's not going for snarls here. He's going for bites.
Oh, you know what? I did not notice that animation.
That's a bite Amok. I'm thinking with bite, he's probably not going to be running Sludge Wave. He's probably going to be running Acid Spray, so no need for me to shield this either. So I'm just going to farm.
Does bite give you any advantages?
I was surprised, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then he reveals himself to be Razor Leaf on Venusaur, and I'm just thinking, what? Then he comes in with Bronzong, and then I've got the Muck. So
now he's managed to get this far into a tournament. Is this your last round?
Yeah, this is round 7. Yeah, and I spoke to them afterwards, and I was just like, that's brave. Like his prediction skills must have been on point. But although actually, when we see what happened to me in game 1, where I ended up with 2 shields left, you can easily see how he can lure people into not shielding early on in the game.
Okay, so yeah, we've got some we've got Wigglytuff who can take chunks. We've got Bronzong who can take chunks with the fast moves. We've got Venusaur who can shred with the fast move. Claydol's Mud. Yeah, so we're going for Tentacle with Acid Spray and Poison Jab. We're going for fast move.
Yeah.
Evan.
Yeah, but it's not like I think I win that one comfortably.
Yeah.
But you know, those moves are standard on Wigglytuff, Bronzong, Tentacruel, and Claydol in this cup. So you plan for those. But Venusaur and Muck, which are spammy, you don't expect that. You can be caught off guard by that. So I could see it. I could see it working. But it goes back to what we were saying about switch advantage not being key here with this team. If you're running this team, you need it. Yeah.
So my first Venusaur with Razor Leaf encounter was against JKG accidentally. Practice tournament, in the voice in my ear, oh, I'm running Razor Leaf on my Venusaur.
lead Muck into the Wiggly. Quite okay with that because I know I can take those shields, but he switches on the Sludge Wave into his Muck. I'm going to go build up to another Sludge Wave here and switch out with that, so I've got something to hit the Wiggly later. And then switch to Azu because I don't need to be worried about Muck having too much energy here because there's nothing he can do to me. I completely wall him to the point where I'm just going to bubble him down. So I
never ever thought I'd see a bubble down of a Muck from that distance, especially not in this.
Yeah. Oh, he's got 2 Acid Sprays off, so the Razor Leafs are going to shred me, or the Charms, and it goes back to Wigglytuff. But I'm able to get a shield, and then come in with Muck and get another shield or take him out. So it's going downhill for him.
They get knocked out with 2 shields.
Yeah, I mean we've not seen what his last is. If it's Bronzong, I've lost, but it's Claydol.
Ooh.
So yeah, strange way to end the tournament, but each to their own.
Oh no, it'd be interesting, highly interesting to see how the games that did go right for them did go right, because like you said, to get this far against you, I assume would have been similar at this point, 5-1, 4-2 maybe. So definitely be interesting to see how that did work out. But yeah, like you said, your team and your lineups is shredding.
Yeah, like Noctowl's so good against that team. The fact that I don't think he brought Bronzong once, or maybe once, I don't know. Sort of knowing how these games played out, I didn't pay a massive amount of attention, to be honest. But yeah, he needed to bring bronze on really, but didn't. So there we have it. 6-1. Again, absolutely chuffed. Just
That's a great effort against. I was watching your progress on the on Sylph, and yeah, there were some big players in there.
Yeah, I think the guy who went on to win it, Cloyce. Moz was saying that he was top in Europe for a long time last season. So that while he wasn't, I think there was 9 elites in this tournament, and only 2 of us went 6-1, which shows the strength in depth that the field in this tournament had. So yeah, I'm chuffed. In any other tournament, I'd have been over the moon with that. Just a bit difficult to stomach with it being so close to the sweep that would have seen me in Worlds. But I lost all the way back in round 3. If I'd have won that, I'd still have had to have won 4 games.
Yeah, and you're against completely different people from that point as well. Yeah. So it's always one of those when it's an early loss that you gutted, but at the same time you think, well, my opponent would have faced that person. I would have struggled there, and then they faced them, and
it doesn't hit quite so hard, does it?
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I was again chuffed with that. Frostlass worked really well. I was really pleased with how that came in for the Alolan Raticate, and it's certainly something I'll be running until the end of the month. Really like that it resists poison as well, with Beedrill coming in a few days' time.
Yes.
So that'll be something to watch out for as well. But yeah, well, let's leave it there then, and I'll see you again shortly to run through your videos and see how yours play out.
Won't be as much as in depth as this. It's really good to hear how you think about your teams, because again, half the time I'm thinking, I know I'm strong with one Pokemon here, I'll just throw in a couple more.
Well, it's a good place to start, and often it's enough as well. Yeah. And to be honest, a lot of the time in this tournament, I found myself, if I was strong with one, I'd throw in something to bodyguard it, and then throw in Azu, or Noctowl, just because it's just so bulky, just to make up the numbers almost sometimes. And as long as you have them in the right situation, they'll take anything on, which is the appeal of them, really. But yeah, well, let's see how you do. So catch you shortly.